Hey everybody, it's Golmadex, and welcome back to some more Magic Green. And today we have the Midweek Magic Event for the week, which is Momir. Momir's Madness is another word they had for this, but it is a very special Midweek Magic format where everyone has a deck of entirely basic lands, but we've got this Factory of Momir Vig emblem that makes things really wild. Everyone essentially gets a random creature with mana value X every single turn. So we're working our way up the curve, getting random creatures from the entirety of Arena, and seeing who gets the biggest, spiciest stuff to pop out. It does often just depend on whoever gets the most flyers to get a bunch of damage in, but it can lead to some really unique and really silly games of Magic since it is pure random chaos. So without further ado, let's just hop into the event. It's one of my favorite midweek Magic events, and I'm super pumped to get right back into it for some more RNG random chaos. Alright, so here we are for game one, and as you can see, our opponent skipped their 1-drop, which is 100% a viable option here. You only draw one card per turn, and every time you activate the Factory of Momir Vig, you have to discard a card. So if you draw a card, discard a card every single turn, you will eventually run out of lands, and you won't make it to really high mana costs like 8 drops and 9 drops. So if you want to get to play some random, incredibly high mana value cards later in the game, then you can hold off on the cheap cards. But if you're just feeling spicy and you want to just immediately get rolling and hope for some good RNG on those early drops, you can also start early, especially when you're on the draw like we were this game. I don't mind just starting on turn 1. If I'm on the play, I usually like skipping the 1-drops at least because 1 and 2 mana creatures, they do tend to get blanked pretty quickly by any average random 3 or 4 mana creature. Like, most 1-drops are about like a 1/1 creature on average, and almost anything at a higher mana cost makes that completely irrelevant very quickly. So, definitely not playing the format 100% correctly here. There's a little bit of strategy to it in skipping some of those early plays most of the time. But outside of that, it's going to be a lot of keeping track of onboard tricks and combat math and everything like that. So they've got an onboard trick here where they can have the Arrow Amoeba be a 4/2 flyer by discarding a card. So we'll try to keep that in mind if that's ever relevant. And we've got a lot of onboard abilities of our own. And I already almost forgot one. We've got a Mana Dork. Anytime you have a Mana Dork, you always want to just skip up to those higher mana costs. So literally after immediately talking about keeping track of what's on board, I almost immediately forgot. So that's kind of spicy. So this is whenever it attacks, something loses all its abilities, and then it's just a 2/2 till the next turn? Sure. So that makes it so it cannot block the 1/3, but it also can't crack back at us in the sky. Because this can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or greater. This Beastbinder actually seems kind of sweet in Momir. If your opponent skips the early plays, pretty much all their creatures aren't going to be able to block this, and whatever their scariest creature is on board can keep shutting off every turn. Seems really nice, actually. I'm going to get 1 mana of every color onto the board here. Oops. 1 mana of every color onto the board here so that I can... There we go. Activate any abilities that I get on my creatures regardless of what colors they cost. Yeah, good to have some blue mana for the Aetherling. Another giant unblockable threat. Seems nightmarish. I think I'm going to hold off here. I could attack in... Oh wait, I'm dumb. Never mind. I was going to say I could attack in and shut that off, but then this can block? No, it can't be blocked by anything with power 2 or greater. It's not 3 or greater or anything like that. So it would still not be able to be blocked by that. I don't know why I blanked on it. Oh god. Aurelia is horrible. So they get 2 combats every turn. And they have multiple flyers, so that is a lot of damage. In fact, I think they should probably just discard a card to the Arrow Amoeba here. Then they get 14 damage in this turn. Because it's hit for 7, hit for 7. Yeah, that's filthy. Alright, we missed out on 1 point of damage here, and we missed out on shutting off Arrow Amoeba, which actually would have stopped a ton of damage. But I think either way, with them hitting Aurelia here, would be pretty much dead if I don't find a way to kill her this turn regardless. So let's find a way to kill her. Hopefully a 6-drop way to kill her so I can give Aetherling unblockable. Come on. Hey, that works. What a hit. Some good RNG to pay us off for some bad plays. And now I'll go ahead and shut off the flyer this time. But then the 5/4 eats this. But I think I'm low enough on life to want to shut off the flyer here. Actually, I'll hold the 1/1 back as a chumper. Oh, what am I doing? I literally just said I was gonna shut off the flyer, and then I shut off the 5/4. There is an argument for doing that here, because then we definitely keep the Beastbinder around and get in more damage this turn. It's slightly riskier, because now we're only 2 damage off from dead, but there's not a lot that's gonna, like, haste 2 extra damage, but not like a million extra damage. And yeah, Brontodon doesn't do it. Okay. Whew. So, this game was not a great showing of the fact that there is a little bit of decision-making and skill involved in Momir, because we punted many times. But it is what it is. It is mostly luck and random chaos, and we got very lucky there to win that game, because that was some sloppy play. But we'll go ahead and take our first Midweek Magic reward here, grab 20 random gems, and head into Game 2. Alright, we're on the play this time, so I'm going to wait till turn 3 to start activating cards. If you are ever curious how high of a mana value you're going to hit in Momir, it's just count the number of cards in your hand. So right now, if I draw and discard a card every single turn, I'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana by the end of this game, which is plenty, so I can start playing cards now. So yeah, if I activate this now, boom. I know I have 3, I get to 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 drops. Because again, draw, discard, draw, discard, draw, discard. So draw, discard, play this land. 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 So on and so forth. Forgot that you get the alchemy cards in Momir, but I guess it makes sense. Any creature that's on Arena. This is a pretty funny one. Now we have deserts in our decks that draws cards. So anybody hitting deserts is going to be pretty happy. Ooh, the plot cards also play well. 2+++ counters if wasn't cast or no mana was spent to cast it. 3 more deserts. That player draws a card and I gained 3. If I have double Harbinger, I gain 1,000,000 life, but I imagine just a 5/5 is better. We both get the value of drawing cards when we play deserts. So I don't think that putting more deserts in decks is going to be inherently great. It's pretty equivalent there. It's really just if the life gain is particularly good, which I don't think it is. Ooh, Relief Captain. When it enters support 3, that means put a +1/+1 counter on 3 creatures. They've only got the 1 to put the counter on. There's Sunscorched Desert to draw a card. Boop our opponents. I want to do that immediately so that if the Harbinger dies, we've already drawn the cards as quickly as possible. Zombie Ogre's interesting. If I get to a position where I can, like, chump attack pretty well, I can actually start getting some dungeon value, which is fun. The Enter the Dungeon mechanic was from the D&D sets, and it's pretty interesting. Ghoul Caller Geese is incredible. Incredible. I'll show off the dungeon card once my opponent is waiting, or once we're waiting on our opponent. Okay, 5/5 flyer is pretty strong, probably just as good as Gisa. But here's the dungeon cards. We get to pick one of these 3, and we activate the first ability at the top. And then every subsequent time that we venture in, we go farther into that dungeon. So I get to scry 1, and then if I do it again, I get to get a 1/1 or a treasure token. and then I do it again. I can drain life or give some -4 so pretty fun, pretty flavorful mechanic if any creatures die during our turn. Yeah, makes sense. Our opponent's going to hold a black man up so they can sack something to Gisa and get a million 2/2s. They can get 6 2/2s here to Gisa. She might solo us here. That's going to be very powerful. And that's just a 5/5, no abilities, pretty mediocre. If they pass turn, then we might be able to venture. I guess if they activate Gisa during our end step, then we don't get the venture trigger. Ooh. 8/12? I don't know if it's going to outrace all the 2/2 zombies over there, but it can try. It's pretty big. So thanks to drawing an extra card from our Sandcloud Harbinger, we're actually going to make it to 9 mana cards instead of 8 mana cards if we want them. But you do get some diminishing returns. I think once you get to 7 mana is like really strong. It's going to be on average stronger than 4, 5, 6 mana cards. But from then on, like 8 mana cards tend to be somewhat equivalent to the 7 drops. 9 drops tend to be somewhat equivalent to the 7 drops. I think there's pretty diminishing returns at the really high mana values. You just have so many great cards you can hit, period. 8 mana does have probably the strongest Momir card, which is Hoverguard Sweepers. A 5/6 flyer that also bounces 2 creatures. If you bounce anything in Momir, because it's a token, you get to just kill it. You just completely remove it from the board. Alright, Koma's probably just going to trade into a bunch of zombies. But if it doesn't, it's going to be pretty great. I mean, I don't see how we possibly survive all these zombies. But we'll see. Let's see if there's any hope here. Yeah, so kill the 2 bigger creatures. Yep. They're down to 9. I do get to venture into the dungeon. Will that matter? We can gain 1. Each player lose a life. Or scry 1? The scry is completely irrelevant. I guess I'm going to enter the Lost Mines so that if we do venture 1 more time, I get a relevant ability. I guess I could have scried that to the bottom to try to get another Sun-Scorched Desert. Forgot we've got 3 of those in there. Doesn't feel like it, because I feel like I've gotten pretty far into my top 10. We only saw 1. Our opponent has seen none of them. It's kind of weird. The desert draws are just not happening. So they have 12 2/2s. I can block 4 of them and take 16? Okay, so I'm still barely alive. Jesus, and there's Shieldred. Luckily, Shieldred can't keep recurring a creature from their graveyard. She's just going to be making us sack something during her upkeep every turn. That'll trigger our zombie ogre, at least. That's pretty cute. I'm going to keep Sandcloud Harbinger. I think the number of creatures against all these zombies is more important than the size. So I'm going to keep that so I could gain some life if I draw my Suncloud Desert here. Alright. I think I'm going to go 8 drops because there's a chance of Hoverguard Sweepers to win here. There's not a ton of 9 drops I can think of that would win. That's not horrific. Oh, there's all our deserts. I think I'm dead. So Gisa can just sack Shieldred, and they get 6 2/2s. They have 18 2/2s. I can block 4 of them, and then 14 hit me for 2 apiece. So I take 28 damage. Yeah, I am just dead, whether or not I attack. I guess Crash of Rhinos is a better attacker than blocker. It might be able to kill enough zombies for us to survive if they throw a million zombies under the bus, but they have to block with something at least. This would be exact lethal right now. Yeah, I'm fairly certain our opponent can find a way to just have enough zombies here. For sure. And that would do it. That would work right there already, I believe. I should not have played my land for turn yet, since I did decide to just go with 8 drops, in case I did hit some kind of card draw that would allow me to hit these deserts, but again, it is Momir absolute chaos nonsense, so I had no idea I was going to hit card draw in the first place. Okay, blocking 4 out of 17 means 13 are hitting me for 2 apiece, which means we are dead. And I believe we'd be dead even if I did hit the desert there. Yep, I would be at exactly 0 if I drew the desert there. So, still would have died through that misplay. But there was earlier, I didn't scry the mountain away. Because I was like, I mean, they're all lands, it doesn't matter. Forgot about the Sun-Scorched Deserts. We did not see all our Sun-Scorched Deserts yet. So if I scried that away, and then got to play a desert last turn and this turn, I'd have enough life to maybe win that one. It's interesting. Alright, mountain to start it off, and I'm just going to start with 2 drops here. That'll already get us up to 7 mana plays, which is enough for me. And obviously if we hit anything that draws a card or gives us mana, then we'll still make it up to 8 mana stuff. What does this do? You may mill 4. When it dies, return a land from your grave to the hand. Decline. I've already got lands. And there we go. That's going to make sure we make it to 8 drops, because when it dies, we just pick up a land and have that land to play. Veteran Ghoul Caller. Whenever a card in your graveyard's put into your hand, you get a duplicate into your hand. Okay, so it's just a 2/2 menace. Still good. For just 2 mana. That's a relevant ability. Making it a little harder to block. Ooh, Ophiomancer's incredible. Get a 1/1 Death Touching Snake every turn when the snake is dead. It's going to be really rough if they attack with anything that does not have evasion, like flying or menace. And that's a 2/2 with no abilities. We're down to 18. Here's our 4-drop. What do we got here? 2/2 that makes them lose a couple life when it attacks. Pretty mediocre, but it's a guaranteed 2 damage no matter how cluttered the board gets. So it is something. Their 4-drop is a 3/4 with no abilities. Got some pretty rough luck over there. Definitely a little luckier thanks to the Ophiomancer. Kind of our one big hit here. 3/5, sure. Oh, they've got a 3/4 blocker now. What am I doing? I could attack with the 1/1 Death Touch Snake if I feel my other blockers are going to be good enough. Ooh. Priest of the Bloodright. That could get them killed if I can block the demon well enough. Because they lose 2 every single turn. I guess I don't really have a way to block that without killing it. Stopping them from losing life. Four, 6, no abilities, sure. Down to 13. Get the counter on this. That's not a particularly good attacker on this board. a 6/6 trample haste here. Oh, this gets to tap a creature every turn? Okay, that's kind of gross. Alright. Easy choices there. They are not going to tap anybody this turn. Just spend all their mana on making as big of a creature as possible. Fair enough. Combat Thresher, oof. Draw another card, get to even higher mana values. Dying pretty fast, show me a flyer. Nope. That is clearing quite the path. Oh, at this point they could just tap my Mammoth Spider twice. I'm just going to chump with Mammoth Spider at this point, because if I don't, I'm definitely dead next turn, because they can tap it with their Kraken thing. 7/6 Flying Dragon too. I'm in danger. I'm dead even if I do chump with the spider. Yeah, even if I chump with the spider, I take 12 in the sky, so I guess I keep it and see if we can somehow find lethal with something insane. Like that? Alright, Terror of Mount Velis. And that's Momir, baby. We are 2 wins deep now, so we get our second random rare reward. And once we get to that 3rd win, we can get our mystery cosmetic, the spiciest potential reward. We could get an avatar, we could get a card sleeve. We'll probably just get a mediocre card style, but we can get cool stuff for that final prize, so let's stick in here, get our 3rd win. Check out our spicy prize out. All right, on the play again. I'll just start off on turn 2. I don't mind stopping at 7 mana in Magic Arena Momir. Ooh, Horde Robber could be gross. Kind of forces their hand. They have got to play something now. I guess it's very unlikely to be that good, because they probably get something that can block a 1/3. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, I think Surge Engine can block a 1/3. Wow, just skipping playing a card next turn and just making that unblockable, just leveling it up, is going to be perfectly reasonable turn. They can also wait till turn 4, and then they can, oops, then they can make it so it can't be blocked and make it a 5/4. Yeah, I'd probably, if I were them, I would play a 3-drop, and then if they have the islands in hand, I would activate both of the first 2 abilities next turn. They do have the island. A 5/4 unblockable, gonna be super, super hard to beat in Momir. That's a really quick clock. So yeah, I would go island double evolve next turn if I were them. This is just a 2/1 first strike, right? Yeah, it can buff itself, but pretty much. Well, Horde Robber's like, if it ever hits, it's great in Momir, but overall, my creatures are not particularly good. Alright, they didn't play an island. They are just not interested in dumping any mana into Surge Engine, and I am so fine with that. Just a 2/4 with no abilities in this format. I would say that we're both hitting pretty mediocre, but again, a 5-4 unblockable. Genuinely a big, big deal, but if our opponent does not want to utilize it that way, then yeah, it is pretty mediocre. That's just the 3-2. 4-4 Manus. Yeah, we're chilling. Five, first strike lifelink. The rest of the text does not work in Momir, but 5/5 first strike lifelink is a massive body that is hard to beat in combat. Luckily in Momir the boards get cluttered up with so many creatures. I'm sure we'll be able to find a block, especially if I can get a 6 toughness 6 drop. 7 toughness works too. They have no enchantments on their board. Oh, and I'll still just pick that because I'm not going to menace any attacks in here. Just in case I didn't notice there's an enchantment. Oh, this only has 5 toughness. I thought it was a 7/6 for some reason. Well, I will have to throw a lot at Cerise if it attacks. But I can do that. I guess they first strike away the 7/5, and then my 4/4 and my 3/3 kill that. No shot! They got a first striker into that? So they first strike, deal 5, and then it's a 10/10, so I need 10 surviving power to kill it? No shot! That's so unbeatable! In Momir. Yeah, first strike this. This is now a 10/10 from its first strike damage. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm 1 damage off. Shoot, that is bad. Foundations added quite the mega bomb to Momir. With the frilled quillworm, the quilled great worm? Quilled great worm. Jesus. Oh, I guess they do still get to just draw land every time they do that. Doesn't matter too much, but they do get value. Whoa. I'm trying to hit the plus. It's twice today. We fumbled the bag. Conjure a card of your choice from the spellbook into your hand. You may cast it without paying its mana cost. Oh, Faith Spetters? I wish there was like an Oblivion Ring in here to actually get rid of the Great Worm. But I guess I can Fetters Cerise. Whenever you end step, if you gained life, create an XX where X is the amount of life you gained. Cool, so I get a 4/4. Sure. Not bad at all. Well, it could be worse. They could have a 5/4 unblockable Surge Engine, attack with it, and then make it a 10 power unblockable creature next turn. They go for RNGesus instead and get rewarded with a flyer, which is rough. They've only got 1 artifact outright. Sack an artifact for +2/+0. That's an artifact. Yeah, they've only got 1 artifact. I think this just kills that. Actually, this does. Maybe I'm crazy. Oh, no, it doesn't kill it, but I gain the life. I needed to block with a little bit more than this. I should have blocked with that and the 5 toughness card. Because, yeah, it's not going to have 5 power. It's going to have 4 power after they sack an artifact. So I should have blocked with that in the 7/5. But I can kill that without losing a creature. Or could have killed that without losing a creature. This only triggers during our end step, right? Yeah, so I won't get any more 4/4s. I think our opponent might be AFK here, which is wild. Alright, I guess our opponent just had something come up, or arena crashed or something, because they just AFK'd into the loss there. I do not think we were at a good position against a gigantic flyer with the Quilled Great Worm to double up its counters every turn. But hey, I guess I'll take it. Take what we can get here to get that final reward. We'll find out what our mystery cosmetic is today. As always, I'm just hoping for anything other than a card style. And we got a Parallax card style. Just the most common reward here, so kind of the most boring. And they mirror the artwork around the edges and at the bottom of the card, which is always weird to me. You can really see it on Mentor the Meek. Part of why I don't like the Parallax card styles. If you look at their legs, the legs get mirrored the other direction at the bottom, which is just super strange. Kind of weird stuff from the mirroring on the Parallax card styles. But hey, that is our 3 wins in the Momir Midweek Magic Event. We did kind of get one of those wins for free, but we also got a loss in there, at least 1 loss. But that is going to do it for me for today. Just love to jam out a run of the Momir events. Whenever they hop them back on Arena, they are pretty wild. And as you can tell here, it's just a lot of luck and RNG, as played pretty sloppy the whole time and still got these 3 wins nice and quick. So wild format. It is a pretty fun time if you like the random chaos. Then even if you don't, it's a pretty quick time for getting your random midweek magic rewards if you are interested in that. Certainly easier than when they make a constructed midweek magic event and you have to like build a competitive standard deck when you might not have the cards to do that. Here it really doesn't matter. Everybody has the exact same emblem. Everyone has their fingers crossed praying for good RNG. But that is going to end today's video. As always, I'd like to thank my patrons and YouTube members for their support, as well as you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it and you're interested in seeing some more, you can always like, comment, and subscribe to tell the YouTube algorithm to send you some more in your recommended feed. If you'd like to catch me live, you can check out the Twitch channel in the link in the description below. And if you'd like to support the channel directly, you can check out the Patreon link in the description below. But other than that, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.